It's another day in the shop at Scrap Fab. Today we're gonna tear into these hydraulic cylinders for the Farmall M. Hopefully I can get them open. I've had them soaking with some PB Blaster, hoping to free up the threads, so we'll see what happens. So first thing, try to get the caps off, see if we can extract the cylinder, and then see what we're working with. And I think the idea for now is to get these rebuilt, and then we will go ahead and mount them on the boom here and try to get our hydraulic lines hooked up. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's enough talking, let's get after it. First glance, they don't really look too bad. I am concerned that this has been open, but you can see some moisture in there. Hopefully it's not water. I have noticed that I can spin this. It's not easy, and I guess I don't really expect it to be easy, but it will spin. So that gives me hope it's not froze up. But yeah, we'll see if we can get this cap off and look down in there, see what we gotta do. All right, so cap came off eventually. It was kind of stiff, but I think that was just from sitting. Now I've got it to where it's free. You can see on here, it looks pretty good. I mean, there's still some shine to it. Obviously it could be polished up. There's some old pitting, things like that. But for my purpose, I'm not really concerned about any of that. So I don't see any nasty sand or anything. Like, it's not super scored, it's just old. So, but with these tractors, that's just the way it is. So we're gonna go ahead and open up the other one, and if the other one's good as this one, then we can go ahead and get them mounted. And then I need to figure out hydraulic hoses. Maybe I could steal the ones off that are already on there, and we can use this thing for lifting. So let's get the other one open and see what we're working with. Alright, so this one was a lot easier. As you can see, this one actually has some like cross hatching in it, unlike the other one. So this one may have been rebuilt at another time. You can see in there though, has some scoring on the walls, but other than that, it'll work for what we got. So we'll go ahead, we'll go ahead and get these back together, get them sealed up, and then we'll move on to getting the pins out of the boom, which we still have these, this one, that one, and then over here we have just the one here. That one is missing. So I am gonna go back through. I don't know if I'll reuse these pins or if I'll use bolts. Probably for now, if I can clean the pins up enough to work, I will use them. But as you can see, they kind of are pretty rusty. So we'll see what happens when I get them out, if they're too deformed or not. But yeah, I'll get the cylinders back together, and then we'll try to get them on here, and maybe we can get them working today. We'll see. All right, so these things are pretty much in there. You can see everything's swelled together. There's not even a seam right there. So what I decided was I'm gonna weld this nut on each of the pins, And hopefully, once I weld that on, the action of the heat on everything will loosen everything up. And then I can grab this with a wrench, help turn it, and then tap it out the rest of the way. We'll see if that's a good idea. I think this will work. Makes sense to me. If it works, maybe you can use it on something of yours. Sometimes you just gotta work with what you got. This is scrap fab. These aren't scrap and old, but I do just have them laying around, so we'll use it, see what happens. All right, so that worked good. I just went ahead and welded all the way around. Welds don't look too bad. And then I plug welded the inside. Then I went ahead and filed the end off the angle grinder to make it come out easier. Had to work it a little bit, but not too bad. So now we will get the other two out. Yeah. All right, after sweating and a lot of sledgehammering, we have got all that out. So this was the last one. And with this one, I ended up having to cut the end off, as you can see. And then you can see all the buildup on these things. I mean, they were in there a long time. So this one's obviously not reusable. The other two, I believe I can salvage. We'll see. This one too. Might be able to salvage, but for now, I'm gonna use some bolts I have. We'll get these bolts in just to mock everything up. Eventually we can put the actual right size pin in. But for now, we'll use these. So let's get these cylinders on and see what we're working with. Okay, not too bad. That's with the cylinder on. The input is at the bottom. Not sure if that's the right way. It makes the most sense being that the hydraulic is down there and then the ram would extend and then fall back. So that's how these are set up. I think it looks pretty good that way. So now we basically just have to try to get some hydraulics hooked up. So we'll go from the input up to, I don't know, one of these. I'm sure they're both regular pressure. So we'll get a line to go to there. And then the same over here. However, over here there is only the, I'm not sure which one's which, to be honest. I believe this is the pressure because this is the one that previously blew. So this is pressure in and then this is bleed. So we will need to tee in to this. So I'll have to get a tee and another line and then a line for the other side. So yeah, that'll probably be it for today since I need two lines and a T. Actually, I think I decided instead of getting all new lines now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these other lines, I'm gonna take these off. I think this one's still okay. This is a new one I replaced, so even if this one isn't okay, I'll only have to buy one new one. I think I'm gonna take this off because those lines need replaced. I'm gonna take that off and I'm gonna use those lines and directly route to each cylinder, and then I'll just have to make my linkage for the hydraulic control. That way I can test everything and I don't have too much going on at once. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Let's get those lines off, see what happens. Another day in the shop. I want to get these hydraulic lines on, and get this out of the way so that I can move it and get on that S10. So let's get these lines on, see if we can get some movement out of these cylinders. Really all I'm looking for is to be able to lift the boom a little bit to drive around, I think. Yeah. So yeah, up to this point, everything looks great. So let's get these lines on, see how good it works. All right, so we've got, this elbow is already on there and it kind of works good for that. It feeds it downwards. I may swing it a little bit farther to better this angle, but I kind of like how that sits. So that is on the right side, and now the left side, the outputs, I believe match, so it'll be this front one. I'm not sure what the pressure is on this one, but basically we've got to make this work. But it has to be over the clutch. So I've got to put the T on from the other side. And so we've got this T. So I've got to break this loose so I can screw the T on, and then we'll run this in, and then our output will be here. So I'll get this torn apart, and then we can get the left side done. Okay, so we've got the lines on. I added 6 quarts of oil. So my thought is probably each of the cylinders is 2 quarts, and then when I had the line blow, it lost a little. So my thought is another 2 quarts. The dipstick's missing, so I'll have to find one of those. But I think for now, it should have enough to fill the cylinders, but it's probably gonna need more. But I think it's worth trying, so we'll get the door open and we'll fire this thing up, and then we'll see if it works. what it's all about here at Scrap Fab. I love that. We just use all the parts that are on it. It works great. Man, I'm excited. Let's get this thing pulled out in the light and then, I don't know, use it a little more. Wow, I'm excited. That is so cool. It works. Obviously, we still have to get the legitimate pins in. It just has the bolts for now, so I'm gonna get those swapped out so it's safe before we use the bucket or the lifting or anything like that. Oh, wow, it works so good. It doesn't even change how the engine performs, which is cool. I do need a little more oil. There's not enough to push all the way up, so add that to the list. But other than that, she is working good. I am so excited how that turned out. All we had to do is buy one hydraulic line, and that works. I mean, you can't even make that up. Like, Scrap Fab, that's what we do around here. It is so fun to make stuff work with little money. Too cool. So, that's gonna be it for today on Scrap Fab. Thank you everybody for tuning into the channel. Remember to subscribe so you can see more of this content. And leave me a comment what you'd like to see, whether you would like to see something lifted with it once it's all together. You need to see something pulled, or if you even have to, if you have a question about your M in reference to mine, yeah, drop that in the comments. Be willing to help out anybody I can. So, next video will probably be, we can do more about the M, but I've got a pile over here of scrap. We're gonna start a new project soon. I'm excited for that. So, be a little blend of everything. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.